I've been hearing a little bit about vagina hats and the entire Women's March stuff. I looked into the Women's March, and after doing some reading, I'm just like, so what the hell was it about? I'm serious. Did that march even have a purpose to exist? Because I keep reading stuff, and I really don't see what the point of it was. And I'm like, people are like, well, it's for women's rights, and I'm like, look, I agree. Women's rights are human rights. Also, while we're at it, men's rights are also human rights, but we don't go and concentrate on that because men are evil, and especially if they're a white male. Also, I've also seen just a bunch of stuff that's anti-Trump. I didn't get it. I mean, I know, grab him by the pussy, all that crap, whatever, a decade-old tape, and I'm like, I could find better stuff to be outraged against. Look, if some politician is going to be a bigot or they're going to be sexist, I can live with that as long as they are good at being the leader of the free world. That's all I am saying. If they're good at that, I can overlook their shortcomings as a human being. Obama, yeah, he was charismatic and whatever else, but holy shit. This guy had a lot of firsts under his belt, okay? And very few of them were very good. He ended up being involved in war more than Bush ever dreamed of. I mean, the amount of fatalities, it would be like a 9/11 happening every day for 15 years. The amount of damage that Obama did in his 2 terms as president, and let's not overlook that race relationships under Obama went and left a crater in the ground. I'm not kidding. Things were bad under Clinton, and it got way, way worse under Obama. Interestingly enough, race relations improved a little bit under Bush, and, well, all I'm saying is every time a Democrat gets into office, you can expect the race relationships to get worse. That's all I am saying. Hey, if you don't agree with it, as always, prove me wrong. But getting back to the topic at hand, there really just wasn't a point to the entire march other than saying, hey, women exist. And yeah, women have rights and, don't sexualize me and all this other crap. And I'm like, well, okay, this is nice and all, but I don't think very many people are going to have an issue with this. I really don't. You might as well be marching under a platform where your leading slogan is to not kill babies. Okay, I don't think anyone is going to want to kill babies, and so the entire idea of having a march in support of not doing this makes no sense. And yes, I am going to go and say babies because if you go and say, well, what about abortionists? Well, they're going to say that it's a fetus and not a baby, so that's entirely different. Even though science has already proven that the fetus can move around a little bit, detect outside stimulations, and it's like, well, okay, it may not be able to live independently on its own, but it is displaying lifelike signs at the very least. That is all I'm saying. And of course, let's not go and forget that women can go and leave their unwanted children at the doorsteps of the police station or the fire station or wherever else, and it's basically, they don't have to abort them, they can just get rid of them even if after they're born. But again, let's not concentrate on this here because it's getting off topic. The point though is, I just keep watching it and it's like, I don't see nothing to march around. I really don't. It's like these people are marching because they're outraged at who knows what. That's all I really got out of it. Just a lot of people who are angry at whatever, and most of it's imaginary. Just nothing more than feminist drivel. That's all it was. I'm like, just a bunch of angry feminists who are actually offended that they actually have to live in the real world with everyone else and not be treated like they're children with tits. And yes, I just said that because under feminism, that is all women are. I'm not kidding. To a feminist, women are complete idiots and morons and can't do anything without Big Daddy Warbucks coming in to help them every step of the way. And of course, the fact that this is all being funded by male taxpayers more than anything else, I've said this time and time again. Women go and consume more in benefits than they pay in taxes. With men, they go and pay more in taxes than they consume in benefits. So, if you're a woman, the government is paying you merely to exist, plus there's affirmative action, plus, like I said before, we live in a gynocentric society. You can go and say, we live in a patriarchy all you want, and I'm kind of like, look, everything that happens, the man's going to get it worse, no matter what it is. The man is going to get it worse. If we actually did live in a patriarchy, then all I can say is it's doing a pretty bad job at suppressing women and supporting men, because so far the actions seems to be more of a matriarchy than anything else. But let's of course ignore the fact that women make up the majority of voters, so if you keep getting men put in office, well, maybe you should start blaming women, but of course we can't go and expect women to be accountable for anything because, as I've said before, they're children with tits. And you can get mad at me for saying this all you want, but keep in mind, I am only taking out all the fluff that feminists use and just getting right to the point. Feminists will dress this up as female empowerment and everything else, but really, at the end of the day, they just go and view women as children. They're not very competent, they're not very adult-like, they're not able to do shit on their own. And I've said it before, but third-wave feminism is the worst thing that has ever happened to women. First and second, not as bad, but third, they just lost their mind. Anyway, the point though is, going back to the march, I've actually noticed some weird stuff that didn't make me laugh. And what it was the transgender community. So here it is, we got leftist nut jobs attacking leftist nut jobs. Anyway, what happened was they were going on saying that, the fact that you're talking so much about a vagina and everything is very exclusionary to trans women. You're basically saying that a vagina is central to being a woman. And I'm just sitting there like, you gotta be kidding me. And yes, I actually read an article where somebody was talking about, well, they could either make a $15,000 down payment on a condo, or they could go and have gender reassignment surgery. And they went with the surgery, and I'm just sitting there like, you goddamn fucking idiot. Look, I don't know what it's like to be a transgendered person, but I know what it's like to be fucking broke. I live on like $11,000 a year, and so guess what? I'm stretch every dollar as far as I can. Why the hell do you think I keep eating ramen noodles? I'll give you a hint. It's not for the taste. The point though is, this is the children of wealth we are looking at. These are the children of decadence. The real world stuff that's actually important to everyone, like, getting a job and getting your damn shit paid for so you can have a place of your own and not be kicked out of it. Who cares about that stuff? Let's just go and focus on imaginary slights and offenses and make it a political issue. And I'm just like, look, yeah, women's issues are human issues, but at the same time, as I've said already, men's issues are also human issues. The point I'm getting at is, under feminism, all they are doing is concentrating on what affects women and completely ignoring what happens to men. If it affects a woman, we will bring attention to it, but fuck those men because who cares? I mean, it's called manspreading, not just spreading. So only men can do this. If a woman does it, well, there's no such thing as femspreading, and so you'll be sexist to bring it up. Likewise for mansplaining, manterrupting, and so on. Take any petty slight or problem and just add the word man in front of it, and this is men intentionally doing stuff to affect women. Again, these people, they got it so damn good that they're making up shit to complain about. That's all they are doing. They're spoiled princesses. They've been treated so good for so long that when you treat them just like a normal human being, oh no, you're oppressing me. That's all the Women's March is to me as far as I'm concerned. It's over-entitled, over-important, and over-spoiled women displaying that they got the cognitive ability of a small child. Once again here, from the top, feminism not only believes that women are children with tits, but that's what they turn them into. Let me tell you this right now. And people listening to this will say, well, you must hate women. You've had a terrible relationship with your mother. Wrong. Don't hate women. I had a great relationship with my mother. Was raised by my grandparents, in fact. But, talk to my mother. I call her and I talk to her quite a bit. The point, though, is my mother and grandmother, these are two examples of what a real woman is. Okay? A real woman isn't somebody who just goes and relies on the government. A real woman isn't someone who just goes and complains about everything in the world like the entire world itself is out to get them. A real woman is someone who actually goes out and do what they have to survive. I have seen my grandmother both as a homemaker and as a person who works a shitty minimum wage job. And I've also go and know that my mother, she's been doing what she's been doing for a good long time in watering plants, but, it's like, well, she's kind of hit the ceiling on it, and everything else is a complete shitstorm no matter what. She makes good money, $15 an hour, but I'm telling you, even then it's not enough. And I know $15 sounds a lot, but you just gotta know the backstory and you'll understand why it isn't. I've actually heard of two teachers who make a combined total of $90,000, and what happened is just them supporting their kid and everything else and all. One person just running to their car is all it took to go and mess everything up. And I'm like, well, hell, if you can't make it on $90,000, what's the average Joe supposed to do? And the thing of it is, guess what? Neither one of these people complain about an imaginary patriarchy suppressing women. My mother put it best. She's glad for the opportunity to work, but unfortunately, that means she's now killing herself just to go and make a living. I know what a real woman looks like, and the reason I know it is because I have seen it displayed time and before by the women in my life. These women who are doing this women's march crap, these are not real women. These are spoiled children who happen to have tits. And just like any spoiled child, you do not go and stop them from being spoiled by catering to them. You stop them from being spoiled by smacking them on the ass, figuratively now, and telling them, look, you are not the center of the world, you do not always get your way, and yes, other people matter, and not just you.